With the royal family, there's always a change of title when something significant or remarkable happens. Prince Edward and his wife Sophie, who were formerly known as the Earl and Countess of Wessex after their marriage in 1999, were given new titles recently by King Charles. The couple are now known as the Duke and Duchess of Edinburgh. The Duke and Duchess of Edinburgh weren't the only ones to get a new title. A young royal also got a change of title as well. Their youngest child, James, who was previously known as the Viscount Severn, inherited his father's senior subsidiary title and is now addressed as the Earl of Wessex. James, Earl of Wessex, is Queen Elizabeth's youngest grandchild. Oh yes, not a great-grandson. Keep watching as we unveil things you didn't know about James, Earl of Wessex. James, Earl of Wessex, was born in Surrey on the 17th day of December 2007, with his full name as James Alexander Philip Theo Mountbatten Windsor. James lives with his parents, the Duke and Duchess of Edinburgh, in their home, a 17th century estate in Bagshot Park in Surrey. Their home is not far away from Windsor Castle and is now close to Prince William and Catherine's new home. Upon his birth, his father, Prince Edward, described him as a cute and chubby baby. At James's baptism, in a private chapel in Windsor Castle in April 2008, he wore a newly made replica of the royal christening gown. The Earl of Wessex was the first royal baby to wear a newly made replica of the royal christening gown, which dated back to 1840 and was used for the christening of Princess Victoria, the oldest child of Queen Victoria and Prince Albert. The duplicate of the royal christening gown has been used to christen most royal babies since James, although the original gown, worn by Princess Victoria in 1840, has been preserved. The Earl of Wessex didn't grow up in a home with lots of children. He is the only son of his parents, the Duke and Duchess of Edinburgh, and he has only one sibling, who is his older sister, Lady Louise Mountbatten Windsor. James attends a regular school. He obtained his schooling at St George's School and Eagle House School, two independent, co-educational preparatory schools. One is not sure which school he will attend next, but the young Earl will be writing his GCSE exams, which will enable him to choose what he wants to do next. His sister, Lady Louise, is already a university student at St Andrews after completing her GCSE exams in 2020. But why is James ahead of his older sister in the royal line of succession? When James was born, he replaced his older sister, Lady Louise, as eighth in line to the throne. At the time of his birth, male children overtook their female siblings in regards to the line of succession. All that is not applicable for male children born now, as James's grandmother, the late Queen Elizabeth II, championed the introduction of the Succession to the Crown Act in 2013. With the succession of the Crown Act, male children of the royal family can no longer overtake their female siblings in order of succession. This is why Prince William's daughter, Princess Charlotte, is third in line to the throne, and her younger brother, Prince Louis, fourth in line to the throne. All thanks to the late Queen Elizabeth II, who championed this act. However, James is still ahead of his sister in the line of succession, since the act applies to royals born after October 28, 2011. If you want to be part of our family, quickly subscribe to our channel so we can keep spilling the royal tea. Since James's grandmother, Queen Elizabeth II, was the monarch, James could be given the title Prince. However, his parents, Prince Edward and Sophie, after their wedding in 1999, negotiated with Queen Elizabeth that they wanted their future kids to have courtesy titles as against the Prince and Princess titles. The late Queen Elizabeth granted their request, hence James received the title of Lord upon his birth. He was given a courtesy title, Viscount Severn, which was his father's subsidiary titles. Many believe that the title Viscount Severn was chosen in regard to James's mother Sophie's Welsh heritage. No HRH title. The Earl of Wessex doesn't have the HRH title because his parents, Prince Edward and Sophie, decided against it. James will have to decide by the time he turns 18 whether he wants the HRH title or not. Although his sister Lady Louise Windsor, who is 19, didn't use the HRH title when she turned 18. In an interview with the Sunday Times in 2020, James's mother, the Duchess of Edinburgh, stated that she and her husband have tried to raise their children, James and Louise, in a normal way and let them know that they are likely to work for a living. An Earl who is 30 years younger than his eldest cousin. With James's age, one would think he's the great-grandchild of the late Queen Elizabeth II. Funnily enough, he's not. The Earl of Wessex is the youngest of Queen Elizabeth's 8 grandchildren. James is 30 years younger than his oldest cousin, Peter Phillips. The young Earl of Wessex, who is also cousin to Zara Tindall, Peter Phillips' sister, the current heir to the throne, Prince William, Prince Harry, Princess Beatrice, and Princess Eugenie. But what is James's current position in line to the succession of the throne? With the recent upward shift in the line of succession, making Prince William, the Prince of Wales, the number 1 in the line of royal succession, the Earl of Wessex is currently 15th in line of succession to the throne, while his sister, Lady Louise, is 16th in line to the throne. Like his sister Louise, James has a lake named after him in Canada. Even without HRH titles, James, Earl of Wessex, has a lake named after him in Canada, likewise his sister, Lady Louise. During his father, Prince Edward's visit of the Canadian province of Manitoba in 2008, he was presented a pair of framed notices by the then Manitoba Premier, Gary Doer, which showed that 2 northwestern Manitoba lakes were named after his children, Lady Louise and James, who were 4 years and 5 months old at the time. The Earl of Wessex's first overseas trip. At age 11, James, Earl of Wessex, joined his parents and sister for his first overseas trip to South Africa in April 2015. The family visited the Ubanwe Foundation in Grahamstown, South Africa. His mother, Sophie, was a patron of the non-profit organisation and wanted James and his sister to see that despite the beautiful scenery in South Africa, there was a need to protect, nurture and support the communities living around it. What special bond did James have with his grandma, Queen Elizabeth II? The Earl of Wessex and his sister Lady Louise were often described as the Queen's favourite grandchildren, since they lived close to Windsor Castle and spent lots of time with their grandparents. James and his sister had a special bond with their grandmother, Queen Elizabeth II, as they were regular holidaymakers at the Queen's Balmoral estate, where they spent quality time with her. Thankfully for them, their other cousins were older, so they had no rivalry in enjoying their grandmother, the Queen. One sport the Earl of Wessex has a thing for is fishing. His late grandmother, Queen Elizabeth, was thrilled with James's fishing skills when he fished up as salmon in River Dee during Her Majesty's Balmoral trip in 2019. One of the reasons why Queen Elizabeth was thrilled with James's fishing skills was because it was a sport loved by her late mother. James's love for fishing was gotten from his mother, the Duchess of Edinburgh, who is a keen fisherwoman and always likes to stand beside her son when he is fishing. During his grandmother Queen Elizabeth's funeral, the 15-year-old Earl of Wessex was seen with his sister Lady Louise and his other 6 cousins by the late Queen's coffin for a first-of-its-kind vigil in Westminster Hall, where they paid their last respect to the late monarch, their grandma. James looked all sober, devastated and heartbroken as he bowed his head throughout the service, standing by the coffin for around 10 minutes. The news of the death of his grandma surely hit him hard. James's stoic composure during the vigil got royal fans talking about how composed he was and how he acted far beyond his age to give his grandma the last respect. His public appearances in recent times. The young Earl, who has been out of the spotlight ever since, has made several public appearances at major royal events in recent times. He was present at the memorial service of his late grandfather, Prince Philip, in March 2022, the Platinum Jubilee celebration of his beloved grandmother, Queen Elizabeth, in June 2022, the Queen's funeral, and the coronation of his uncle, King Charles III, on the 6th of May 2023. During King Charles's coronation, the Earl of Wessex was given the honour of making an appearance on the balcony of Buckingham Palace, alongside King Charles, Prince William, Prince George, and other members of the royal family. James, Earl of Wessex, is a promising young royal with a bright future, whose parents have chosen the best for him and allowed him to witness both sides of life, being royal and unroyal. Although he's not referred to as a prince, he has a lord title. He has the choice to choose the type of lifestyle he wants when he turns 18. Whichever one he chooses, he'll always be a royal and the youngest grandchild of the famous Queen Elizabeth II. What do you think about the Queen's youngest grandchild, James, Earl of Wessex? Share your thoughts with us in the comments section below. Click here to watch more videos, and thanks for watching. See you in the next video.